last night because there's some agenda items related to why they're here. Is there anyone else here that needs to address the council on any things that were not necessarily on the agenda? Okay, I'm going to move the request for a donation from United for Recovery. Miss Tammy Gibson's with us. It's way down on the bottom of the list. I don't want her to have to spend the whole night here because I think she was probably out working last night on the training. So I know you had something going on the training. So if you would, I think Betty Hart is the sponsor of this request. Betty, if you and Tammy would like to give any background on the request.
Absolutely, thank you. Yes, I'd like to sponsor United for Recovery's request for funding for the resource books. As you know, United for Recovery has been working very hard for about 1.5 years to help with substance use, and they've addressed it from every angle, whether it be someone who's dependent on it, the family, the children that are involved, every aspect of what a family goes through when they have an addict. So they're doing great work, and this is one way that I think that we can help them. They have lots of plans, so this is one that I think we could help fund with. So, Tammy?
Okay. I'm going to give you an example of Louisville and one of their books that they have. Our book is going to be small, pocket-sized, something that can go in someone's pocket or purse, backpack, something like that. And for our community and our people, you know, we all have goals, and we want people to be happy, successful, healthy, and we want them to meet their goals and strive for new goals. And sometimes people get stuck in that process. So everyone is not successful. Some people may reach out to our community and need help. And this is a book for them to show that their village cares. People get stuck in their process for several reasons. It can be brain health issues like mental health, depression, anxiety, addiction. It can be that something has happened to them as far as trauma. It can be that they haven't had their basic necessities and needs met. So this book that we're developing will be on an online database that can be on the city's website if they want. Can be on anyone's website in the county. But their physical copies are for the EMS and the police and the fire department, the hospital ERs, our pastors. Anyone that is a first responder in the community can give this physical copy out to someone who's in need. So it's our first step in addressing issues, problems that they have. When people are overwhelmed, the simple idea of looking something up and trying to find help can be very difficult. So we're eliminating that step for them, making it a little easier, showing that the village cares. This can be something that can be updated every year and printed out again. We can see how successful it is. So that's my idea, if anyone has any questions.
I think just as a background, we had our city attorney did vet the request and does meet the criteria for the use of these community development grant funds. So does meet that. Councilman Hart is a sponsor. I think Tracy, you told me we still have some funds remaining in our community development grant funds for this fiscal year, which was how much?
2305.
2305.
Mayor, if I may be in order, I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the donation request for the United for Recovery for the 1751.
I'll second it, Mayor.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any other discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. It's good timing. Just ran out of funds for this budget year. Thank you, Tammy, and thank you and your organization for all you've been doing. I know you're active. Like I think y'all had a training event last night for Narcan. So keep up the good work and hopefully help us make a difference.
Well, thank you guys for being committed to helping and serving as
water and sewer in Maywood and water only for Wilson Industrial Park.
Yes, these are pretty standard process. There's another phase going in Maywood subdivision. So this is just that process by which they're doing a utility extension for this next phase. There's already an annexation agreement on file for Maywood subdivision for the entire development. So that was not needed to be requested at this time. It's already on file. So this is just kind of going through that process, provided that the main extensions we served are meeting all current water and sewer standards. And to get that application into the Division of Water, they need a letter stating that we will accept that into our public infrastructure system. And for the Wilson Industrial Park, we'll do these together. This is for a main extension along Wilson Parkway to serve a newly created lot in the Wilson Industrial Park. So there's existing sewer on the property. This just extends that water line down. And again, along Wilson Parkway, that portion will be accepted into our public water system.
And you reviewed all the plans, I guess, both of them by Horizon.
Yes, the plans are on file and they're in the process of being reviewed. So if there's any changes that are needed, the BWI has been approved. It's good and ready to go, just needing the letter of acceptance upon completion. And that we have capacity to serve, and we do.
If I would or could, I'd ask for a motion then to approve the request by Maywood subdivision for the sewer phase 12 for water and sewer service request, and then Wilson Industrial Park, BWI Exchange LLC for water service request.
So moved, Mayor.
A motion by Councilman Jones, do I have a second? Second by Councilman Hibbs. All in favor, signify by saying aye. All opposed, motion is carried, thank you. Okay, Jessica, you've got the bid tabs for the salt auction for our salt replenishment for the coming year.
Yes, the city participated in the CAECO road salt auction, and we ended up we were in the group that there was some type of glitch and we had to rebid. So this is the actual bid where we had 4 participants in the bid, and Magic Salt of Kentuckiana is the low bidder for $95 per ton. Oh, not yet, $95. Just as a reference, last year's bid was $110, so this has come down, but it's still an elevated cost considering the year it was in 2017, it was at $53.50 a ton. So last year was a huge jump. This year it's still elevated, but it has gone down some.
Jessica, we didn't use a lot of salt last year, did we?
No.
So how much do we have in surplus?
Our barn is pretty full, so we were fortunate that under last year's high bid, we did not have to purchase a lot of salt from that. But again, it's nice to have a price on file, not knowing what kind of winter we're going to have. So if we have a hard winter, we may deplete that salt stash and need to replenish those. And trying to get it, like I said, we're okay for now, the first part of the winter, but yeah, you just never know.
So this gives us a fixed price.
Yes, it gives
Purchase
us
up
a
to 100
fixed,
tons.
yes.
We're not committing to 100 tons.
We're not committed to 100 tons, but we're guaranteed at least 100 tons if we call on it.
We could have some more discussion or questions during the motion. Then I would ask for a motion then to approve Magic Salt of Kentuckiana as the low bid and recommended bid at $95 a ton for salt this coming season through the CAECO auction. A motion by Councilman Buckman, do I have a second? Second by Councilman Hart. Any other discussion or questions of Jessica? Seeing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye. All opposed, motion
Yes, this was a project done in-house, project for maintenance to kind of clean, repair, and paint filter number 1. We did filter 2 about a year and a half ago. And this is a change order to just kind of balance things out. There were a couple of items that came up during the process that were needed to be addressed and keep moving. And this is kind of just that balancing change order so that the maintenance work matches at the end of the project and the final payout matches the overall contract amount. You can see one of them was just trying to provide an additional epoxy to cover some bolts and so forth. Another portion was just making sure that we were addressing a safety concern for the diamond plate and the walkway and replacing that back with light material. So you can kind of look at the pictures. Again, once you get in there and start sandblasting, sometimes the integrity of that system shows up more so.
I take it this work is already done, Jessica?
Yes, it's already completed.
I think you said there was kind of a timing issue that we need to move on this pretty quick. Do you want to explain that?
Correct. When we have a treatment unit down, that means that for the duration of the project, we don't have all capacity of the plant, if you have a peak month. So we're always trying to do the work during, I think this work was initiated back in February. We had to take the unit down and to clean it and do a full inspection to try to get as many of those hidden costs identified to get a good bid initially. And then obviously we're in February and March, there were some weather, lots of rain, and then just the process of trying to do the work and continue to treat water. There's backwash processes to clean the other filters. So they were having some technical issues with trying to keep from one day's work to the next day's work. We would hold off our processes and operations of certain things until after they were completed that day and left. But sometimes water was coming back through a line and seeping back into the areas that they had been working the previous day. So the next day they would come back, they'd have to re-dry everything out, and it was really taking additional time until we kind of addressed some workarounds to make that better. Plus, we're trying to get everything finished so that we could then get new media and under drain work repaired. So it's kind of a process, and we're needing to move this project finished so that we can then move forward to the next repair process, which is some wheeler bottoms. It's kind of a cone system in that filter done by another subcontractor. And get the media in and back online. We're almost online. We're still not online yet, but I'm hoping that if the weather continues as if it is today, or through the forecast of hot and dry, we've had, a lot of rain, so the demand has been a little down, and I've been fortunate for the weather we've had due to this work. But hopefully this will provide us some longevity for the treatment plant, for the unit, and we won't have to come back in and do this for another 15 years.
Mayor, if I'm in order,
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve the change order number 1 for the water treatment plant filter unit 1.
Okay.
I'd like to second it.
Have a motion by Councilman Williams, second by Councilman Shekels for the change order, I think $5,800, is that correct, Jessica?
Yes, sir, 5,800.
The motion is second, is there any other discussion?
I would say this was also adding additional calendar days to the duration of the project too, for the timeline. For some of those reasons I was talking about, the delays of
That won't affect, 21 days?
21 days.
That's not affecting the price other than this?
No,
change
not the
order.
price, just the timeline.
Okay, thank you. We have a motion and second. Is there any other questions or discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion is carried. Okay, Audrey's up next with a lot of HRB summaries and recommendations. I know we had some recusals when we get to the voting portion, Councilman Jones and Councilwoman Hart. Is that correct?
Mayor, do you want me to read them in their entirety and then we'll break them up, I guess, when we
Yeah, we can do
Okay.
that. You can read the summaries.
Okay. COA 19-102, Osprey Community Whiskey History. Applicant Archdiocese of Louisville owner, request to install signage at 114 North 5th Street. Recommendation, approval to install the proposed signs. COA 19-103 was stricken. The applicant was moved to the next meeting due to a lack of quorum of HRB board members. COA 19-104, David Crabtree, applicant/owner, requests to paint his garage at 202 East Flagey Street. Recommendation, approval to paint the garage the proposed paint colors. COA 19-105, Vance and Cheryl Marquez, applicants' owners, request to install a new handrail and balusters on their side porch at 415 North 3rd Street. Recommendation, approval to install the proposed railings. COA 19-106, Pimina LLC, applicant owner, request to remove trees and bushes at 215 West Stephen Foster Avenue. Recommendation, approval to remove the proposed trees and bushes with the following conditions. Conditions, that 2 trees in the front and 4 trees to the side will be removed, and the final landscape plan will be brought back to HRB for approval of what to replace those trees with. COA 19-107, Nancy Foster, applicant owner, request to install a new roof at 214 East John Fitch Avenue. Recommendation, approval to install the proposed roof with the following conditions. Conditions, the metal gauge of the roof would go to a 26 gauge roof and the new color for the new gauge as proposed at the meeting. COA 19-90, Jim Willett, applicant, Marcy Palatella, owner, proposed to install new cedar shakes at 213 West Stephen Foster Avenue. Recommendation, approval to install the new cedar shakes with the following conditions. Condition, the applicant must work with the preservation coordinator to seek staff approval for the stain and the color of the shakes once they have been cleaned. COA 19-108, Michael Stewart, applicant, owner, request to install gutters at 111 West John Fitch Avenue. Recommendation, approval to install the proposed gutters. COA 19-109, Michael Stewart, applicant, owner, request to install shutters at 111 West John Fitch Avenue. Recommendation, approval to install the proposed shutters with the following conditions. Conditions, the shutters for the 2 windows that are in question because of their abnormal size will be staff approved for the appropriate shutter size and consistency. COA 19-110, Michael Stewart, applicant, owner, request to install a driveway at 111 West John Fitch Avenue. Recommendation, approval to install the proposed driveway. COA 19-111, Michael Stewart, applicant, owner, request to install a walkway at 111 West John Fitch Avenue. Recommendation, approval to install the proposed walkway. COA 19-112, Michael Stewart, applicant, owner, request to alter a fence located at 111 West John Fitch Avenue. Recommendation, approval to install the proposed fence at the location proposed. COA 19-113, David and Dana Dones, applicants, owners, request to redesign a building at 112 West Flagey Street. Recommendation, approval to alter the existing building with the new proposed building design as presented in the application. COA 19-114, David and Dana Dones, applicants, owners, request to change the brick at 112 West Flagey Street. Recommendation, approval to install the proposed brick. COA 19-115, David and Dana Dones, applicants, owners, request to redesign the windows at 112 West Flagey Street. Recommendation, approval to install the proposed windows. COA 19-116, David and Dana Dones, applicants, owners, request to redesign the doors at 112 West Flagey Street. Recommendation, approval to install the proposed doors with the following conditions. Conditions, on the porch doors/windows, their final size and design will be staff approved. COA 19-117, David and Dana Dones, applicants, owners, request to add shutters at 112 West Flagey Street. Recommendation, approval to install the proposed shutters. COA 19-118, David and Dana Dones, applicants, owners, request to install lighting at 112 West Flagey Street. Recommendation, approval to install the proposed lighting with the following conditions. Conditions, the final light design, surrounding elements, and details will be staff approved, and that the final design would be contingent on the fence design. COA 19-119, David and Dana Dones, applicants, owners, request to install a new roof at 112 West Flagey Street. Recommendation, approval to install the proposed roof with the roof material being the shingles as presented in the application. COA 19-120, David and Dana Dones, applicants, owners, request to change the paint at 112 West Flagey Street. Recommendation, approval of the proposed paint colors. COA 19-121, David and Dana Dones, applicants, owners, request to install a fence at 112 West Flagey Street. Recommendation, approval to install the proposed fence with the following conditions. Conditions, the final fence design, the final light fixture design, and the final gate design will be staff approved. COA 19-122, David and Dana Dones, applicants, owners, request to install a side porch at 112 West Flagey Street. Recommendation, approval to install the proposed side porch. Conditions, the final design of the side porch, all of its detailing material will be staff approved. COA 19-123, David and Dana Dones, applicants, owners, request to alter the outer foundation at 112 West Flagey Street. Recommendation, approval to install the proposed foundation.
All right. Councilman Shekels. Any other discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion is carried. Okay, we can bring Councilman Hart in, and I think we'll recuse Councilman Rose on COA-113, 114, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, and 23.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve those. Councilman Williams, is there a second?
Second.
Second from Councilwoman Hart. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion is carried. All right. Do all that. See what's up. All right, next item on the agenda is, we don't have any additions or corrections to our minutes from the June 11th. We can approve that by unanimous consent. Okay, call on our CFO, Tracy Hudson, to kind of give us a little background. We're going to do a first reading of our budget. She's provided a memo about the most recent revisions since our last discussion.
Yeah, I wanted to get those in there. The most important was the remodel of the fire station, with it going up from 1 million to 1.5 million. So that's in there. And then, like the mayor said, we went ahead and repaired the roof on the council, or replaced the roof on the council chambers. And then, planning and zoning, there was an increase in planning and zoning.
And we didn't get their request for their annual budget contribution from the city until after we had gone through their budget proposal. Now, this is for their operating funds, and we did add $25,000 to the budget to cover the cost of the comprehensive plan update. That's already in there. So this is just a firm number for the additions from operating account. All the incorporated cities make a contribution based on population as well as the county to the overall. This is our share is higher than what originally, about $9,666. So that's the memo. If you've got any other questions of Tracy, we can ask her now or do that in the discussion part of the motion.
All these numbers are in the proposed budget then?
Yes. Yeah, we just went on and took the fire department to 1.5 and anticipating if the value engineering didn't save us any money. We also wanted to have enough money to cover equipment and furnishing and so forth. In the event we didn't save anything on the original low bid of 1.4. So we put that much in there so we hopefully have a cushion to work from. So if we don't have any other questions of Tracy, then I would ask them for a motion for first reading on the annual budget and have Audrey read the summary.
So moved, Mayor.
Do we have a motion by Councilman Williams? Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Shekels. Any other discussion? Do we have all in favor for the motion for the first reading of the summary? This is not to approve it yet. This is the first reading.
You ready for me to read it, Mayor?
Yes.
Ordinance number B 2019-07, annual budget for the fiscal year July 1st, 2019 through June 30th, 2020. An ordinance adopting the City of Bardstown, Kentucky's annual budget for the fiscal year July 1st, 2019 through June 30th, 2020, estimating revenues and resources and appropriating funds for the operation of the city government. Whereas an annual budget proposal and message has been prepared and delivered to the City Council, and whereas the City Council has received and reviewed the budget proposal and made desired modifications, now therefore be it ordained by the City of Bardstown, Commonwealth of Kentucky, and ending June 30th, 2020 is hereby adopted as follows, as set forth below. City of Bardstown summary of operating budgets fiscal year 20. General fund budget revenues, $12,457,650. Expenses, $11,701,456. Total revenue over expenditures, $756,194. Combined utilities budget, revenues are $51,537,500, and the expenses, $50,347,786. The revenue over expenditures is $1,189,714. The general fund and combined utilities ending balance, revenue $63,995,150. Expenses $62,049,241. Revenue over expenses $1,945,909. Section 2, that any and all ordinances inconsistent with the ordinance are hereby repealed. And Section 3, that this ordinance shall take effect July 1st, 2019 after its passage and publication as required by law. This summary was certified by Albert Hayden, the city attorney. Copy of the complete budget is available for inspection in the office of the city clerk.
This is the first reading, so it won't be necessary for a vote. We will be having a special call meeting tomorrow at noon to do the second reading and a formal vote for approval. So hopefully everybody who's here this evening can do all that tomorrow. Thank you, Ivy. Okay, the next item is our safety committee meeting minutes. Councilman Shekels, you're the chairman. Do you have any comments on those, or just want to?
Well, you see the printed out minutes in your on your iPads. There's not a lot of major discussion. Fire Chief Fire Chief Billy Magley, he brought up the possible looking into maybe looking into some air monitoring equipment. You know, we had a little chemical spill in one of the local factories here the last month or so, and he's maybe looking into getting some air monitoring equipment, and maybe talk to some of the factories that may be dealing with these chemicals, and that maybe they may be interested in maybe partnering with us and looking at some of those air monitoring equipment. We had after hours bar committees. We had some discussion about some events or times or dates that they may want to extend the bar hours. They were going to get together and maybe have some dates that they might want to propose back to the council, and have some discussion about that. But overall, that was basically the gist of the meeting. Police Chief Crescent said they were beginning the application process for the certificate accreditation of through the Kentucky Association of Chiefs of Police. It's a program that will measure the Bardstown Police Department policies and procedures against established standards and practices in law enforcement. And we have now got a new air ventilation system in the evidence room at the police department. So we can get good clean air smell in the police department. Or there's not a lack, there's not any foul smells in the police department. Let's put it that way. It's all good now.
Thank you. Then I'd ask for a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
So moved, Mayor.
Councilman Downs, a motion, and a second. Second, Councilman Butler. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion's carried. Thank you. All right. As a follow-up to that meeting, we have received a proposal from the committee that's been advocating for the extended hours. I've just put this on for discussion purposes. You all can see the number of hours. 18? I mean, excuse me, number of days, 18?
After talking about it a little bit more prior to the meeting tonight, we actually got it whittled down to even maybe just 11. 11 at the most, 8 for sure, based on, like we talked about in the safety committee, just based on past events and then some of the bigger events. Only a couple days for Bourbon Festival, and then for the most part, on those 11 days, there would still be roughly one a month with nothing in a few of those months, and then the Bourbon Festival, Oaks and Derby would be the only multi-day, but all of them are on weekends, with the exception of Turkey Cake, which is always a Wednesday. And of course, New Year's Eve, which changes.
So and are you saying that you're sort of amending the proposal?
Right.
So it'd be 11 days and then withdrawing the request for the summer, June, July dates? So with that being said, I just felt like the council ought to have some discussion as I think we all understood that the request for year-round, that was probably not going to pass. And when we met at the safety committee meeting, there was some discussion about this proposal that Dietrich's just put forward to, which is amended from the one that you got. So I just wanted to see if the council wanted to consider these amended number of days as an option, or if the council was still opposed to granting any days for the extended hours. Or we can, if you don't have any discussion, we can bring back, we have you resubmit the proposal, and we can bring it back for an up or down vote. But I just thought, if there was no support for any number of extended days, then we just need to, move on. But if there is some support, then we would reconsider their, I guess, this proposal that they presented tonight, which would be 11 days. Or you all could adjust that if you would like that.
Mayor would be opposed to some days. I don't know how everyone else feels. I knew 18 when we talked about that was probably too many, and I don't know if 11 is going to be still on our radar as far as how many we'll approve. I've talked to a couple people, and I feel like the bigger festivals, like Bourbon Fest, Buttermilk, Street Concert, Turkey Cake, things that are native to Bardstown might be the ones that could be beneficial to the community and to the bars themselves. But that's kind of where I stand. I don't know about New Year's Eve or Oaks and Derby or anything like that. I think we need to stick to stuff that's going to be relevant to the community.
So would that be less than 11 days is what you're talking about?
Yes. Good.
Well, I would think that to make the ordinance cleaner, rather than count how many days, just maybe pick a certain events.
Or weekends of those events, or days?
Or just say, like the Bourbon Festival, okay, it's 2 days, that's one event. Buttermilk Day, that's 3 events, but it's probably you wouldn't use it maybe one day. Turkey Cake maybe one day. New Year's Eve is one day. In making the ordinance cleaner versus counting all the different days, just say Bourbon Festival or Turkey Cake or whatever the situation days might be, just make it those certain events. And if we were to do it, if the council was agreeable on doing that, just make it the events. So you got 3 events, you're gonna do it 3 days, 3 times a year, this, and this. However many days, it would make the ordinance cleaner.
I agree with you.
Versus counting how many days it's gonna be, and how many days it's not gonna be, and if people don't. That would be my suggestion, if the council choose to go along with that. It would be a cleaner, the ordinance would be cleaner than.
Would it muddy the waters? Like this year, Bourbon Festival is only going to be 3 days. But what if 2 or 3 years from now it goes back to 6 or 7 days? That's the concern I would have. And I understand your position on counting the days, but I would prefer personally to make it only Friday and Saturdays, to leave Thursdays or Wednesdays or any other day of the week off, simply because of the quality of life of the people that live downtown. If they work, regular hours, what I would consider 8 to 5 or whatever, that Thursday night wouldn't be a problem for them.
I
I guess with the exception of, say, a New Year's Eve.
New Year's Eve would obviously, yes.
Or turkey
exception.
kick.
Or turkey kick, yeah. And turkey kick is a local event, so that's a good one for our citizens.
Mayor, I had mentioned, I don't want to impede on the discussion, but I had some discussions about the possibility of if the council wanted to go, if we're concerned about locking into certain days, because I certainly wouldn't want us to be amending. Mary and I do not want to amend this ordinance once a year if this were to be the situation. There could be the possibility of the council saying up to X number of days to be approved annually by the safety committee or something like that, so that in your situation, if we said Bourbon Festival, and it turns out to be 7 days later, then that could be something that the safety committee could address without bringing it back to the council. I don't know if the council would want that to be taken from their discretion, but that could be an option.
I think once you start talking about picking and choosing days, then it's going to create a slippery slope any way that you look at it. My personal feelings is it needs to be all or none. I mean, that's the cleanest form of an ordinance that you can do. I mean, that's what we have now. I haven't been able to garner any support for it at all. So, since we're elected to represent the people of Bardstown, I haven't talked to anyone in Bardstown that actually thinks that this has any merit whatsoever. So, I can't support it in any form, much less picking and choosing days, which I believe would become a slippery slope, as Councilwoman Hart said, that, if dates and times and numbers of days per festivals change, then all of a sudden that we're looking at multiple days throughout multiple times of the year. And I think even at 11, it's a bit much. But that's my opinion. I think the cleanest form of the ordinance is either it's all the way or nothing.
My opinion is very similar to David's. I've not been able to garner up any support. Anybody's in favor of this. As a matter of fact, I've got a lot of non-supporters of this, and I don't think we're saying here that we're not in favor of having a bar or having people have entertainment of that nature. That's fine, but I just don't know. I don't feel real comfortable about changing the hours here and there. I just think it's either, I'm like David, I think it's all or none. And first off, when Frankie first brought it up, I thought, in my mind, it was going to be maybe 4 or 5 days. And then how do you determine that?
Sure.
Is the Bourbon Festival, why should they get 3 days, Buttermilk gets 2? How do you start dividing that up? And I know your event thing, but still, I don't know how you draw a line.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It doesn't have to be either, either or, like Steve said. But I would say if you were gonna go, if you're gonna pick an event, or instead of specifying certain days, just specify an event. But if it's not something that the council feels comfortable with, we won't even bring it to vote. We don't have to.
We're probably still talking 20% of the weekends. I mean, not 20%, at least one day a month, or 1 weekend a month, I would think, anyway. No? 11?
8 days. 8 days wouldn't be that many, I don't think.
Well, like I said, in those 8 days, 4 of those are from 2 events. And we, like Oaks and Derby, you're right, maybe not necessarily something native to Bardstown or as important as some of the other historic events, but on some of these, historically, Turkey Kick is that Wednesday before Thanksgiving. The Halloween crawl that we do is always the Saturday before Halloween. Doesn't necessarily have to nail down a date. We're saying Friday, Saturday of the festivals, or the Saturday before this holiday, or as in Turkey Kick, it's always the Wednesday night before. So, but like for Bourbon Festival, it's 3 days now, and it goes to 7 days later. We still really just want that Friday, Saturday at the end of the day. That's the most important part from our perspective.
Bill, is that what you were trying to say?
Well, I was just thinking about how you got to present the ordinance. From my experience being in the rest of the events that I've experienced in probably the last 15 years, where there was extended hours were probably as popular was Buttermilk Days Festival, because there was a lot of homecoming, a lot of people came in from out of town, a lot of friends and family. They had extended events after our little street concert, whatever. And the other one was the Bourbon Festival, where we had a lot of people from out of town that people came after the events and stuff locally here. And those are the only two events where I've experienced where the police officers, the police department, whatever, they gave a little leeway as far as giving people an orderly time to disperse. They gave a little extra. Didn't change the ordinance or anything like that. They just used common sense judgment in allowing the people that were out participating in the events a little extra time to get together themselves and disperse. Those are the only two events in the last 10 or 15 years that I've experienced in my MBDA, in my MBWA, that I've experienced where there's been any difference as far as hours go. Derby Day, people start the derby parties by 7 or 8 o'clock, they're through with that. That's not a big deal. Turkey Kick used to be big and popular. It's wound down. It's not nowhere near like it was 10, 15 years ago. So those are the only two, that's why I said event-wise. Those are the only two events that I know where there will be basically any other time that with the discretion of allowing people to be out just a little bit longer and using common sense judgment on allowing people to disperse. That's it.
What about New Year's Eve?
Well, New Year's Eve's, it's after 12 o'clock. It's a new year. So, I mean, that never was a big deal either. New Year's Eve really wasn't. So, I'm just speaking from experience.
So,
And I dare say that
it sounds like there is some support from the council that,
Mayor, can I make a comment?
sure,
I realize that we're the bourbon capital of the world, and I read your proposed dates for this After Hours Coalition, and I just kind of feel like they're too many days. And I will say this, I'm from the beer capital of the world, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, so I do understand the extended hours thing, because a lot of those taverns open at 11:30 in the morning, believe it or not. And they close at 2. So, not that I was frequent at those places, but so I do understand it, but I just feel like, as I see it here, if I'm gonna come to some kind of compromise, that's too many days on there.
you're talking about how many? You know,
I think 11 is too many.
I think that you all changed your proposal to 8, is that what we heard earlier?
Like I said, we kind of had a discussion before the meeting tonight and got down to 7 or 8. And then again, with, a couple of those being one event, so a Friday, Saturday, Thursday Garden Festival, and the rest of them just being single.
Well, Mayor, I don't want to keep kicking the can down the road, but I would like to have it cleaned up a little bit so I can specifically
Yeah, we weren't
see.
gonna put this to a vote tonight, I'm just
Right.
trying to see if there's
Oh,
support
okay.
enough to even put it to a vote or just not. That's kind of where I was.
I would like to see, if something were to be adopted, that it maybe be more on a 6-month to 12-month trial basis to see how this thing goes. I know you don't want all that paperwork, but, what do you do 6 months down the road? It doesn't work for us, or it's not working for us. Or maybe it might be even better than what we
I would
do.
think that would be, I think just about any new ordinance would be subject to that anyway.
As long as it's on the table, it's not. If it happens,
Well,
if it happens.
When I'm speaking, and I'm not saying yea or nay, and I'm more of a clear-cut guy to either yea or nay from the beginning. But I'm just speaking from experience of what I have experienced actively involved in what goes on. There's only two events that we've ever had the lax hours that we've had from, like, say, 1 to 2. And if anybody else has been out there being what I've seen or doing what I've done, then they can speak on their behalf. But those are the only two events.
So are you saying that it might need to be more like 4 days or instead of 8?
I'm just saying, there's only 2 events from experience where we have ever laxed the hours. Those are the only 2.
Bill, as far as other road days go, do people pretty much stay down there, or do they come up and go to the bars around town?
Usually what has happened, the street concert thing usually knocks off, let's say, around 11 o'clock. And a lot of some of the local people have had after hours party after the events that went on after the events. The same way with the Bourbon Festival, when they shut down up here. You still got a lot of people that are mingling around. And as a rule, we don't try to write a lot of tickets. We try to let people take care of their own and have an orderly dispersal. And sometimes it takes a little longer because you got a little bigger crowds and stuff. And because there's a lot more people coming in the community. And like I say, those are the only 2 events where this really came into play. And I can speak from when I was sitting in Dick's position, and I can speak from, when I was on the council before. Those are the only 2 days that we were ever lax, only 2 events, that we were ever lax on giving people an extra time. So, but only 2.
Well, we need to decide, I think, tonight whether we're going to pursue it, even having a vote on an ordinance. I don't know that I would be voting, but just based on the input I've gotten, it's been the same, that I've had far more people pushing back on this than I have. I even had some people who work in some local bars and who own some local bars tell me that they're not in support of it. I think there's more problems than there is positives for it myself. That's just me. So we're in a situation, we've got some that I think are in favor of some days, possibly, and others that are in favor of not changing it any. So should we draft an ordinance? And it sounds like to me 8 days was the number, or is that right?
Well, I'm kind of like Council Jones in a way too. Either you are or you're not. But I was just making a reference on what I know from experience. So the council can make their decision regardless on that. But kicking the can down the road, doing this, doing that, whatever. I'd say either we do or we don't. So.
Are you saying we do or we don't on the modified hours of the most recent proposal, or are you saying all or
I'm saying
nothing?
you can do or you don't on the modified hours, or if you were going to
I mean, modified number of days.
Yeah, like I said, different experience. There's only two times that after hours really comes into play. 2 events, that's it.
Right. If we do decide to do a limited number of days, I think we need to give it a full year so that we pull in all the days that they're requesting rather than doing a shorter term. I also want to make sure that all of the establishments that are affected by this are in compliance with everything else that they need to be in compliance with. All other ordinances, rules and regulations, that they comply with everything that they're supposed to do, because unfortunately, if one of them does something they're not supposed to do, it's going to affect all the other establishments.
To Councilman, I guess, Buckman's concern, we can amend the ordinance every year if we want to. It makes Mary somewhat complicated when we're compiling everything. But we could pass the ordinance and add a section that says on these specific dates, and we could literally list, whatever, the dates are for the year, and then obviously when the dates run out, we can, we can revise that section with new dates for the next year. Does that make sense? Or if we decided, to your concern, 6 months that this was just not going well, if we get through, if this is something we pass and we get through Buttermilk and we get through Urban Festival, I think, what have we done? Then we can repeal that section, there's options to do that. If we want to put the specific dates in the statute, we can do that. Just pass something on, January, we could, for example, we could go through January 1st, and January 1st, we could take up, in January, take up the annual calendar if it's something we want to pursue at that point. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And chisel down the days and stuff. I mean, it's okay, but for me still, and this has been my situation from day one, is that we created a lot more living space in downtown. And that's primarily where probably my biggest hang-up is, because we, not until just a few years ago did we have downtown bars. And when you have those mixed in with living space, and we really pushed hard to get these more people to live down here. And, and needless to say, bars are nice for people that live downtown. It's nice to be able to walk in downtown if you want a cocktail, whatever. That's not the problem. The problem is when they leave. And it's just really hard for me to support later hours because of that reason right there. I have a hard time with that. Listen, I've tormented over this for 2 weeks. I've been all over the place. Yes, no, yes, no, but just getting any support.
Well, it looks like it's somewhat of a stalemate.
Would you all just like me to clean it up like you said and resend and see if maybe?
I think we beat this up long enough. If this ordinance was come to vote today, who would vote for
Depends on what it, how it reads.
The way it sits.
it? No, this is yea or nay. If it was yea or nay, what would we do?
If it was all or none, I wouldn't vote for it.
Agreed.
I think your question would be on what they most recently submitted. Is that correct?
No, that was what I asked. I said, if we were to vote on today, the yea or for all or none, where would we stand?
You mean the previously drafted version that we tabled?
Yeah. If it does it, this could go on forever, thinking about triple this. There's really no need to, really. I don't think, I'm just one man's opinion, but I don't think.
I don't know why you're asking that question, since we've gone past that discussion. We've gone to more of a modified discussion, modified number of days.
But if we had a modified number of days, I think it would be for that.
Would this be silly? What if we just gave them Bourbon Festival? Because that's the only thing that somebody's really came to me and said we lost business during Bourbon Festival in Louisville last year. What if we gave them Bourbon Fest? And that'd be it. That's the one that could have the biggest draw for the community, the biggest draw for the bars. And it could be very quick.
Friday and Saturday.
Friday and Saturday at Bourbon Fest, the 2 days that they really want, the ones that could be beneficial to the community and not be too much of a nuisance. That you agree with? Councilman Hart?
Deisha, what would you say the biggest weekend of the year would be?
Street concert would have been fantastic to have that, especially being the largest crowd that they've ever had. Bourbon Festival, of course, Turkey Kick. I know it's not the same as it used to be, but that's still a homecoming type night event.
We're not interested in Buttermilk. Buttermilk didn't do anything for us, really.
New Year's Eve, it kind of, whenever they, New Year, like I said, it strike at 12, but then within a half hour of midnight, we're trying to push people out, so that can be challenging. But for the most part, street concert, Bourbon Festival, and then Turkey Kick, and then some of the pub crawls that we traditionally have. But again, those are ones that we're willing to let go for some of the bigger ones, for some of the bigger draws.
Put together the ordinance for consideration on limited number of days and they identified here. It sounds like 4 or 5. Put it to a vote and then we just either vote it up or down. think the easiest way, just for consideration, would be identify those events because the dates change.
I agree.
I think we all
100%.
know when Bourbon Festival hits. I think you should identify Thursday and Friday at Bourbon Festival. The night is a street concert.
And for the one that I sent you all, I did that just based on the year coming
Right,
up.
but I mean, I think it would just generalize, send us, it sounds like to me, they're closer to 4 or 5 days than to even give it a shot than it is large enough of days. I'd say send that to us, we can put that together in an ordinance form, and you all can vote it up or down. Is that okay? So we just make a final decision?
In a prioritized list,
What's that?
in a prioritized list.
I think you're talking about getting 4 or 5 actual days.
If we're gonna do 4 or 5 prioritized, those are,
If that's what you'd like, it's up to you. Okay. That's what we'll do then. And I think we probably want to wait until this second meeting of next month to set that, give them time to put it together, give you all time to make one more look at it and be done with it. Second meeting rather than a work session. Is that okay, or would you rather have it next week? You know, it's pretty turnaround to draft.
Second.
Okay. Second meeting. All right. And that gets us down to, under new business, we have the Stars and Stripe Family Fireworks. It's being sponsored by the Church of God at 726 North 3rd Street. Motion to approve that fireworks permit for the
So
Church of
moved.
God.
So moved, Mayor.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilman Williams, do I have a second? Second by Councilman Knowles. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you. And any members of the council have anything to comment on this evening or announce? Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'd just like to make a comment. You know, with, trying to, this, we're going to have another new business that's going to generate parking situations downtown. I think as a council, we really need to start thinking about some more parking spaces downtown. I don't know if anybody's got any good ideas on that. I think we need to start addressing that. We're going to keep drawing businesses downtown, start looking. What do you think about that?
That's a good point. I think that would probably fall under the long-term planning committee. So,
You know, we keep saying, you know, 500 feet parking, or if you're within 500 feet of the city parking lot, but we have a lot of businesses now that are using that same parking lot. And it's, I mean, it's filled up, you know, which is a good thing for us. We just need to kind of figure out
It's a growing
a few
pains.
more, it is, exactly.
We'll probably schedule maybe a long-term planning committee meeting. Not, the next 2 weeks, we might have some options. We'll have to start looking for some options and something we can bring to the table to start discussing. Okay.
Mayor, we were supposed to have a rec board meeting Thursday, but we will not have it. Talked to the rec director, and we didn't feel like we needed to have a meeting just to have a meeting. And plus, this is a busy time of year for them anyway, and we meet at like, what, 5 or 6 o'clock, or whatever it is, and that's when they have a lot of events going on. So he's going to email everyone and let them know what's going on with the rec department, keep you abreast of what's going on. And I don't know if this is the appropriate thing to do, but I'm going to do it. I've been waiting a long time to be grandpa, and that's going to happen. So, and I'm wearing the color of the shirt. Let me tell you. The legacy continues.
Any other council members have anything to discuss this evening?
Mayor,
Yes, ma'am.
just want to remind everybody about the Taki Gala happening tomorrow morning at 10.
Yeah, that'll be at 10, and then we have to be back here. Those that attend have to be here at noon for this short second reading of the budget. So I think those that were invited by invitation were, they're saying that lunch might start at 11:30, so I don't know, you might have to grab and go or
Get it to go, please.
whatever. So we just have to play it by ear.
Don't sign it. Don't
But
sign it.
the governor's going to be here, and I think one of the members from the Japanese consulate from here, the Japanese consulate from here, Kentucky will be there, and so it's going to be a pretty big event. All right. And then we have a cemetery deed request for Tina Murray, one grave, and then a transfer of one grave from Virginia Snyder to Lillian Snyder. Approve those by unanimous consent. Is there any other announcements?